Remember how 3 years ago Jurassic Park Dominion was going to be the finale of the franchise? Well, guess what? It made over $1 billion, and Universal said, yeah, you know what? Let's reboot the reboot. And now we have the 7th Jurassic Park movie, Jurassic World Rebirth. Yet another movie where a secretly evil man works for a large corporation that needs something from an island that has dinosaurs on it, so he has to recruit the most skilled mercenaries on the planet to help achieve that mission. And look, going into this, I was hoping for a solid movie. I was fearing for a terrible movie. I had close to no faith for it, but Gareth Edwards is an interesting director. Even though I don't really love a lot of his movies, I do think he directs monster sequences in a really interesting way. So I think it does make sense that he was the pick for a Jurassic Park movie. And the last film he made, The Creator, was something I really enjoyed a lot. I thought it was pretty good. And I think at the end of the day, Jurassic Park Rebirth, it's not as terrible as I thought it could have been, but it's also not that great of a movie either. It's one of those okay movies where while you're watching it, you think this is solid enough, but then as soon as the movie ends, you just don't remember really anything about it. And maybe that's not even the right statement. It's not that you forget everything you just saw, because there are a couple memorable moments. It just feels so empty by the time the credits roll. And I don't even mean these things as like a super negative thing. I do think this might be the best okay movie of the summer. If you just want to see something fun at the movie theater, I think Jurassic Park Rebirth accomplishes that mission a lot better than the previous two movies. But at the same time, this feels like a weird complex puzzle where some pieces are very exciting moments mixed with a bunch of reused parts that we have seen in these movies so many times already. They have these weird, lazy new dinosaur designs, and they even have a baby dinosaur in here to help sell merchandise at Universal theme parks. And I actually really did enjoy the first Jurassic World with Chris Pratt. I do think it banked a lot on nostalgia, but I think it delivered on what it set out to do. It was really cool finally seeing what Jurassic Park would look like as a real theme park. The second and third Jurassic World movies, though, so technically Jurassic Parks 5 and 6, I thought were abysmal. It was just borderline unwatchable garbage that was split into two different 2-hour movies. I couldn't stand them. And I really think Rebirth, the newest Jurassic World movie, is a huge step above those two for sure. I think I would still probably prefer the original Jurassic World over this one, but if this is a peg under the first Jurassic World movie, this is like 17 pegs below the original Jurassic Park. Even though these movies keep printing money, they could only make an average movie so many times. At least that's what I think, because they just keep running these movies to the bank. But I do think there are glimpses of a great Jurassic Park movie in here. And I think a lot of that comes down to Gareth Edwards being the director behind it, because there are just some moments in here, specifically the entire sequence with the T-Rex, that I truly think are incredible. Sure, you figure that the people in peril in that situation are probably going to make it out okay, but it is directed in such a genius way that for 5 minutes, I was glued to the screen. It almost felt like it should have been its own short film that was just filled with tension, and it was something that Gareth Edwards could have pitched to make a full Jurassic Park movie. But the entire sequence from beginning to end is just directed in a really brilliant way. And even though there's a dumb gag at the beginning of it where the raft kind of blows up and the T-Rex just disappears, sure, that moment is pretty goofy and feels too unrealistic, but at the end of the day, this is a dumb summer blockbuster. And in that moment with the raft, I really thought like, okay, this has to be the second best Jurassic Park movie. But then the rest of the scenes of the film just don't really live up to that level of quality for me. There are some glimpses of solid moments. Like there's a part where a helicopter is trying to land through all this smoke and you think it's going to end up being okay, and then you realize a dinosaur has been holding onto it the whole time. There are little moments like that that did put a smile on my face. And I think those parts make this not totally unwatchable. It's not even like the rest of the movie is terrible like the last two Jurassic World movies, but I do think about 7 or 8 of the 134 minutes of this movie are really, really good. And then everything else is kind of just as bland as Hollywood filmmaking we have gotten over the past 10 to 15 years at this point. But there are still some other aspects about the filmmaking that I do enjoy. Like they've been promoting how this was shot on film, and I think that choice really is effective. The grain and look of the movie is really impressive. They are clearly trying to pay homage to Spielberg as much as they humanly can. But what really surprised me about Gareth Edwards' direction, even though I think he directs certain sequences really well here, I felt the blend of the CGI with the film didn't look great. And that's surprising because this is what Gareth Edwards specializes in more than anything else. And a lot of the dinosaurs here just don't look great. There's a couple wide shots where you're looking at dinosaurs that look like they belong in an Xbox 360 game. And I think the reason you feel that way is because the rest of the film and the on-set stuff looks so good, and it's just so jarring. They don't feel like they flow that well. And I do think the reason I feel that way is because this movie's entire gimmick is that the island that they visit this time has a bunch of genetically mutated dinosaurs, so they could kind of make whatever they want, which definitely is a basic idea, but at least it's like different enough. Even though they did mutated dinosaur stuff in the Jurassic World movies, at least like, okay, here's an island of them, I guess. And it feels like at times they were gonna go in a direction that was super cool, but then it never fully gets there with these new dinosaurs. They call the big one the D-Rex. It's so stupid. And it just looks like a big ass xenomorph from the Alien franchise. I didn't think it looked good at all. I think the only reason they show him in either really dimly lit settings or nighttime is because they know the design looks terrible. And since it's dark, you could kind of hide as much of the special effects as you possibly can. I thought it looked really goofy and not cool. And I'm all for creativity. I'm fine if you want to make mutated dinosaurs. I still think regular dinosaurs are still cool, but they kind of make fun of the fact that people, both as the audience and within this world of Jurassic Park, are tired of regular dinosaurs. But I still think we could have gotten so much more creative in terms of these dinosaur designs. They all just felt kind of bland. The movie has a really spectacular cast, surprisingly, even though pretty much all of them have nothing to work with. Scarlett Johansson is the lead, but I do think she's probably the most boring character in the movie. And that's no fault of her. Like, I think Scarlett Johansson is one of the more talented actresses that we have. I just feel like they didn't give her anything to do. There was nothing interesting about her character in terms of personality or backstory. They try to give her some emotional stuff, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really feel that effective. And I just feel like they wasted someone with her level of star power. I did like what they did with Jonathan Bailey, who admittedly I thought was Dan Stevens the entire movie until the credits rolled. Like, I was just 100% convinced when I saw him. I'm like, oh yeah, Dan Stevens is doing the nerdy scientist thing again, but I guess it wasn't him. And in that moment, I thought maybe I should stop talking about movies on the internet. I don't know what I'm doing. But I think between this, Wicked, Bridgerton, the guy is getting bigger and bigger roles, and I'm really interested to see what other kind of blockbuster filmmaking he ends up doing, because I do think he's a really talented guy. And speaking of talented guys, Mahershala Ali is in here. He's been one of my favorite actors for a while, and he is pretty great for the little amount he has to work with. It's crazy he's in the Jurassic Park reboot of the Jurassic Park reboot before we get him as in a Blade movie or even a Blade cameo in the MCU. It's truly incredible how they have wasted this guy's career for the past 6 or 7 years at this point. There's also an entire family subplot in this movie that is made up of mostly unknown actors, and I think they all do a fine enough job. But David Iacono plays the boyfriend, I guess, of the oldest daughter in the family. And this is a guy that really surprised me. There are so many blockbusters over the past 20 years that have, maybe not even 20 years, the past 50 years, that have always inserted a character like this where he's kind of the same stereotype over and over again. The kind of humor is the same kind of humor over and over again. And I feel like a lot of people don't really do a great job with it. They end up being the most annoying character of the movie. But I'll give credit where credit's due with the writing here. The way they wrote this character and the performance from David specifically is really impressive. There's a scene where he is taking a piss in the movie, and that entire sequence had my entire theater howling, and even I was laughing a lot at it. I thought it was really well written. I think the way he handled it was really funny, and I was genuinely surprised that he ended up being as funny as he was, and I feel like he deserves more credit. You know, even in a movie that I don't really like this, I want to praise the people that I think should be recognized, and I think he did a great job with what he was given. And it really is crazy how one piss joke is funnier than anything in Jurassic World Dominion. But I do think this franchise, more than a lot of others, is just starting to feel more fatigued than usual. I mean, this franchise has been going on since 1993 at this point, and there are only so many times where an evil person could be like, imagine how much money we can make off of dinosaurs. And again, credit to this movie for being self-aware of that. You know, it makes fun of the fact that people are tired of dinosaurs, but at the same time, like, I don't know how long people could keep watching these. And I don't like dunking on movies just because there's slow buildup to things. There's plenty of movies that are great with slow buildup, but the scenes where there aren't action set pieces here just kind of felt a little sleep inducing. And there's definitely a lot of boredom in between the dinosaur scenes, which is not something you want. What made the first Jurassic Park movie so great was the dinosaur stuff was really cool, but all the interactions between the characters was great. And I don't think every blockbuster needs a big theme or a big message, but I do think you need to feel something while leaving the theater. And this movie just made me feel nothing. There's one monologue Jonathan Bailey's character tries to give, but it's not fully effective. The only thing this movie really has to say is dinosaurs still go roar and they're mutated this time. There's nothing else really to it. It's kind of like ordering a quarter pounder with cheese at McDonald's. Like, sure, it's better than the McDouble, I guess. I mean, still debatable. But at the end of the day, you're still eating McDonald's. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like you've elevated to Five Guys or something like that. But if you're looking for a movie that's okay at best, solid in the dinosaur parts, this is definitely better than the last two movies. So if those two really let you down, you'll definitely like this one more. I don't see many people ranking 5 and 6 higher than 7. I think this is the better of the last 3 movies. Just don't expect this movie to be the reboot of the franchise. Save that for Jurassic Park 10 Reborn. So this is Chase. Thank you so much for watching as always. And if you think the dinosaur in the next movie should be a genetic mutation between a T-Rex and Amy Schumer, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss my review of that movie.